Well, I hope you didn't miss last week, but if you did, we started a conversation on fighting fair. So, conflict resolution in relationships. And there was so much that we talked about that we decided that we're going to extend the conversation to today so that we could finish up. Really just today learn some techniques on how to fight fair, And we want to hear from you as well. What are some of the things that you do when you're fighting to ensure that you keep the fights above the belts? I remember that, I think it was Yao who said that, no, I think it was actually you, Eyram, who said that at the end of the day, when you're fighting, you should ask yourself, do I want to keep this person? And if you do, then you can't really just, throw jabs around and just say what you want to say and all of that. So basically, we're going to learn how to fight fair today. And I hope that after the show, you will stop throwing jabs and stop saying things that you wish you could take back, which you never could, and, things which destroy your relationship, especially if it's a relationship that's important to you. So I have Eyram with me. Hi, Eyram.
Hi, Animwaa.
And Yao is listening from home. He couldn't be here with us tonight. He's not feeling very well. Good evening, Yao. Hope you feel better soon.
Get well soon.
And we also have a surprise guest on the phones. So we'll bring her in a little bit. But Eyram, I was kind of hoping that you could do a recap of last week for us. Yeah, that would be great.
So last week, I started with the thought, a quote of mine that I say that the longevity of your relationship is dependent on how you fight. And so we started from there, and also I said that you need to learn to separate the problem from the person, unless in those peculiar moments where the problem is the problem. The person is the problem. And also, you are either fighting the person, so the problem or the person. Then we also have to learn how to have disagreements devoid of emotions. Yeah. You need to learn to agree to disagree. We also talked about addressing the issue upfront, not letting it fester. And like you said in your introduction, sometimes you say things you wish you can take back. But even when you apologize, how what you said made the person feel in that moment never really goes away. Yeah. And some people can say, oh, I've forgiven you, but deep down, they will still hold that against you.
Yeah, it depends on how deeply you hurt someone.
Exactly, how deeply you hurt that. So I think as we talk about the techniques, we'll also talk about the do's and don'ts, like things that you shouldn't say, or we talked about things like you always do this or you never do this. Yeah. And such statements should not be used. And we also spoke about telling the person how what they are doing makes you feel. Yeah. And also trying to understand why they are doing what they are doing. Mm-hmm. And we identified that the problem comes up because some people do certain things or react certain ways, but they don't know why they are doing what they're doing. Yeah. Yao went into some I wouldn't say psychology, but some deep aspects of people's upbringing. Yeah. And we also spoke about our culture here in Ghana where, the man is always right. So it's very difficult to tell a man that you're getting this wrong. And we also said that it's good when you have somebody who is open-minded, where the person, sometimes they can kind of psychoanalyze you. Yeah. And sometimes you could be dating your therapist. That could be good or that could be bad. Yeah. But I think that's where we kind of wrapped it up. And then we also talked, which we said we'll delve on today, is what's the things not to do. So, like, don't text, but maybe you should call and have, like, a phone conversation or a video call so that you meet face-to-face and have the conversation. So we'll delve deeper into that. So I think that's a recap.
Those things. I was thinking about it, Eyram, today, and I realized that the thing about fights is that, there's this quote that love doesn't die a natural death. Yeah. But there are things that we do that kill it. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, if you don't know how to fight fairly, you don't know how to communicate the things that you're feeling when you're feeling, you can actually kill the way that somebody feels about you. True. And sometimes it's happened to me before. I'm divorced, so obviously it's happened to me before. But you can love someone more than you've ever loved anyone. Yeah.
Even more than you love yourself.
And it can die.
Yes.
it can. And so I think we need to stop approaching our relationships and, our feelings as if they're infallible. It could never change.
The person can do something to you that would just change how you see them
and how you feel
about
because
them.
if I think I'm realizing that if you hurt someone enough, or if you do some things to somebody enough, and you make over and over again, exactly. And suddenly, the thing about fights as well is that it takes you from feeling like we're on the same team to we're enemies.
Yeah.
And so you start to treat each other like you're enemies, and it erodes, the integrity of the relationship. And that's the thing
that I had a real life situation where my friend is dating someone, and then he says something happens. Like, if this had happened between my friend, like your friend and I, it would have been like a different situation because people have a way of reacting to situations differently. And also with what you're saying, what other people don't understand, that when you continually keep doing something to somebody, and they keep telling you, so people who are serial cheaters, or you think that, the person one day, you would realize that the person starts building tolerance to that behavior.
Because the body learns how to defend itself. And the heart learns how to defend
itself. People
don't
just become heartless.
Exactly.
Something happened to them. They trusted over and over again, and then they just got to a point where they really don't care.
But Eyram, the thing is that fights are important in a relationship. I think we established that last week. Because there'll definitely be disagreements. There'll definitely be conflicts. They'll definitely trigger you. Yes. There'll definitely be these things. But it's what we really want to achieve with this conversation is really keeping it at the back of your mind that there is a way that you can have these difficult conversations or these painful conversations so that you're not destroying the fabric of your relationship, so that these fights actually bring you closer. Because, the thing is, when you fight with someone and you fight fairly and you fight well,
it brings you closer.
You understand them. And there's nothing quite like understanding in a relationship. Just understanding.
When someone
says
that, I get you. Like, I don't know if you've ever been with somebody where you feel like they see you.
Yeah, they get you.
Yeah, they get you. I have, and those, the when people say things like, you should marry your best friend, it's tricky, but
I could never marry my best friend.
Yeah, I could never marry my best friend.
Like my actual best friend who's my
best friend. I could never marry my best friend. I love him, but I could never marry him. But
I think the heart of that thing is that marry somebody who you are friends with.
People, and you see, so when someone gets you, they know you're triggered. Have you met someone who triggers you on purpose? Was dating. We
know how to trigger the people that we're with on purpose. Of course.
And then you keep doing that. And those are some of the things that we'll talk about. But like you're saying, sometimes people need to learn how to fight. Because once you feel that, okay, this is how this person reacts. If you tell the person how what they do makes you feel, and you come to that understanding, it brings you closer.
And you know that, okay, if I say this is how they'll react. So I'm going to take it easy, or go this way, or go that way. Or
maybe I'll calm down. If there's an issue, I'll calm down before I bring it up. So maybe give them time to cool off. So,
but Eyram, I'm thinking about the things that... Because there are just some things in relationships that no matter how you approach it,
there'll always be that. Yeah, there's some things.
No matter the kind of tact or strategy you use, whatever you use, the person is just like I mean, say they will kind of.
I mean, like with Adam, when Adam called in last week, she was like, some people are just downright immature. Like they take a stand and that's it. They don't try to listen to what other, and I've met certain people and those things are red flags for me, because I always come to the table with the understanding that we could agree or disagree. I met someone, we're talking, and then he told me that there are certain things that it's non-negotiable, and I mean, if I say that's it, that was a red flag for me. And I was like you said, even we have discussed with God, and then we have a whole discussion about the whole situation, and then I mean, God, we manage it. But for you to tell me that this is my word is it, nah, we're not doing that.
Okay, well, what we want to do today, apart from talking about fighting fair, is we want you to call us and tell us your strategies for fighting. So we know that there's the wooden stick strategy, or the mineral water, whatever. So one person holds a bottle, and while they're holding it, they talk, and then and then you don't talk until, because interference is a big thing when it comes to. Yeah, that's
another thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
today.
and then we also know about the fact that you have a pre-fight structure, so you know that, okay, at this point when I say let me walk away, you need to let me walk away, and then I do that. We talked about reflexive listening, so telling me what I said back to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. The thing about reflexive listening is I found that a lot of people find it patronizing. They think you're patronizing them when you say, tell me what I said, or what am I saying.
What I'm hearing you say is that.
Exactly, but it's important because
I want to know that you are hearing what I'm saying the way I said it. And
because
you
men are from
Mars
and women are from Venus. So obviously, we're speaking different languages. But okay, so I was telling you that we have a new friend who's joining us on the phone. This is her first time on Strong and Sassy with me, at least. She's called Alma Teria. She's the head of Prestige, team lead of Prestige Kente, which is a premium custom Kente brand online. Hello, Alma.
Hello, Animwaa.
Hi, you're welcome to Strong and Sassy.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. So, we're just going to continue with the conversation. So just feel free to come in whenever. But last week we were talking about fighting fair, so we're continuing with that. And today we want to talk about some. Should we start with some things, some of the do's and don'ts of fights? So I'll let Eyram start. And maybe give us about 3 or so, and then we can come to you, and then you can tell us what your do's and don'ts during fights are. Is that all right?
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so Eyram, hit us.
So I would say you don't let it get physical.
Yeah.
I mean, emotionally and psychologically. You should be able to fight. If you're going to fight fair, get to a place, or one person should get to a place where they can control themselves, so there should be no physical abuse. There should be no emotional or some people are just narcissists. Like the way they will come for you about something, it would just make you feel so terrible. So that is a no-no for us. And I also think that do not interfere. Try, because I have issues with people where I'm talking and they keep interrupting. I was dating someone, he won't let you talk. So I literally have to sit down and write like 3-page messages.
Wow. My best friend, my female best friend, likes to send emails.
Like detailing what you've done and explaining how that made me feel, because if I'm talking to you on the phone, you won't let me talk. And I also think that the third one for me would be do not involve friends and parents unless it's necessary. Some people will talk to everybody about what the problem is without talking to the person that they have the problem with.
I have a problem with, I believe in getting perspective.
True.
On issues. My problem with perspective is picking the people who you are going to speak to. So there are some issues that, so for example, PG Sebastian is my friend. He's a counselor, and all of that. I like to talk to him when I want to know things about men. So if my boyfriend is acting a certain way and I don't understand, I would call him, or I'll call Salom, or I'll call some male friend and say, Charlie, what does this behavior mean? The biggest mistake I find that a lot of women do is that we call our other female friends and then we ask them what they think
they will tell you about their experience, but they are not men.
And they don't understand.
Exactly. They don't speak men.
Yeah. So, that's just a tip.
I never take advice from my female friends if it has to do with a man.
I take advice from female friends about female things.
Yes. And
so if I want someone to understand me, I'll speak to your girls, of course, because they'll understand you. But if you want to understand the person that you're with, then it makes more sense to speak to. Because sometimes, the way they'll break the thing down for you, be like, look, I would never have thought about it this way, but that's exactly what I had
a conversation with one of my good friends, Mil, and then he goes to talk to, and he called me that evening, he said, my girlfriend says thank you. And I said, why? He said, the way you broke down, because his girlfriend was acting a certain way, and he wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
So I broke it down to him from a woman's perspective, how this is making her feel, which is why she's reacting the way. You don't communicate. You just take a decision and then you expect her to accept it. And when she's rebelling, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Women, we have things planned. You just can't drop something on me.
Just
you need
like
to,
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he said, the girl says, thank you. She's so excited. And I'm like, in case you came to me, I was able to speak from the woman's perspective.
Yeah.
Because you can't see her, you'll be like, oh, maybe she's nagging, but these are real.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like with a friend, so perspective is good. If I want an issue, I'm dealing with a man and I don't understand certain things, I talk to my male friends. What does this mean in man terms?
Exactly.
What is he trying to tell me?
How do I communicate what I want to say in a way that he will understand? Because these things are important. Another thing that's important when you're looking for perspective is level of awareness. Yeah. So you need to know the person that you're with, their level of awareness, so that you don't go and ask advice from people who are beneath that level. Because all they'll do is tell you that we don't understand.
You know, when my male friends come to tell me about their situations, the first question I ask them is, how old is this girl? Because sometimes they are dealing with people who I used to be like.
Right.
You understand?
Okay. Yeah,
so I can tell you that if you're dating somebody that's 22, 24, there's a way that they behave themselves. And I've been 22, I've been 24. I was in uni at a certain point in time, and like, this was how we used to act. So you are on this level and you're dating this person, and then you are like, why is he always doing it? Like, calm down. This is how they do. You understand? So, and you also don't want to talk to somebody, like you said, who won't understand where the person you're with is at.
Yeah.
And so maybe they might give you some advice that you think that, oh, this person is a problem. You will leave them based on that, and then you see that they are somewhere else and they're flourishing because then that person gets them. And you also don't want to be talking to people who will side with you. If you really want to,
you don't want people who will side. I think that that's one of the greatest attributes of a true friend is somebody who will question you. And I find it so irritating with my friends when I go to them with an issue. Like my best friend Analyst, for example, when I go to her with an issue, her first reaction is always and I'm like, what? And she's like, but I know you, so you must have done this. And I'm like, but I didn't come to you. But she's like, okay, but we need to deal with these things. And then so
real friends would do that. And one
friends,
thing that I don't like in friendship is when I'm with a friend who I can be honest with. People who expect that you should always be on their team, even if they are doing the wrong thing. Your friends should be able to tell you that you are out of line on this one.
Okay, I think we're kind of moving away from. So anyway, those are Eyram's three don'ts in the relationship. Don't get physical.
Yep. Don't interfere.
So don't interrupt the conversation. So allow the other person to talk. If you're finding it difficult, you can use the stick method or the water bottle method. Or you can write it down.
If they won't let you speak, send
them email.
Write it down, explain it to them.
That also helps because actually it gives the person a chance to read the entirety of what you're going to say. And the third thing was...
do not involve friends or parents
unless it's necessary. All right. Okay, Alma, let's come to you for your 3 don'ts in fight.
Yes. I think all the points that we've raised are very, very valid points. I'd love to add that in terms of level of awareness, it's good to know how aware the other person is. But I think most of the time we are not self-aware ourselves. We do not really know ourselves, and so we just go. We don't even know. Sometimes you don't even really understand how we are feeling about whatever the issue is. You understand? And so we just go in through whatever we want to say or whatever we are thinking without really properly analyzing everything.
The way we do,
and then we just spill out everything and then we lose it. So for me, I have come from. At first I used to cry a lot. Talking about emotions, if we have an argument, it's either I'm crying or I'm walking away, right? And then that's just like you're keeping the
so you're not
Come
alone.
Again?
I said I cry a lot too, so you're not alone.
Yes, but then I realized that sometimes it doesn't help the situation, right? It doesn't help the situation, and I'm learning to grow out of that. So I think that one of the things that we need to do is, try to grow. As you are getting more knowledge of yourself and knowing whoever, your partner is, getting to know them better, it's important that we also grow out of certain things, like that emotional bit, because I realized it wasn't helping me. Because anytime, and sometimes when you cry, the men usually feel like you are blackmailing them or something, right?
Well, they need to grow up and realize that we're not blackmailing them. It's actually expressing. I'm a champion for crying, so I'm.
No, but what they say is that when you do that, you're like, when you start crying, they just start saying things that will make you stop crying.
Yeah, but the thing is, and this
it.
is my argument. I cry during when I watch a movie, when I watch Lion King. Regardless of how many times I've watched Lion King, every time Mufasa dies, I cry. Yeah, it's a thing. Like, so if you know that's about me, then you should know that the fact that I'm crying doesn't necessarily mean that you can't tell me what you want.
But that can sabotage the real issue that you want to be dealt with. It can. In most cases, it does. Right? Your partner may know you, but they'll tell you, and they snap out. Because they'll go like, oh, this one, you start talking, no, she go start cry. So I don't go talk, I go keep quiet. Then, and then these matters, just fester.
But then that doesn't make it, Alma, that doesn't make it right. That's stonewalling. And that's setting conditions. No, that's actually setting conditions for the conversation. It's like, okay, well, if you cry, then I won't talk. But it means you're putting a condition on your communication. Yeah. I understand that, okay, yes, my crying may make you uncomfortable or may make you feel like, okay, she's already sad. But then for you to then say, well, if you cry, then I won't talk. The response will be, okay, then don't talk. And eventually, the relationship will fall apart.
Will fall out, yeah.
Exactly. So, okay, I'll try not to cry, but when I do,
exactly.
Don't then
so
say
try
that.
not to cry.
Exactly.
Try to think more about the issue. Try to, be a bit more logical, more than emotional all the
Alma,
time.
Let me ask
that
you a
this
question.
is the issue.
Let me ask you a question, Alma.
Even though it makes me uncomfortable, it has to be addressed.
Okay, Alma, let me ask you a question.
Come again?
Let me ask you a question, right?
Okay.
We've been talking about being more logical.
Yeah.
And I've listened to women try to be more logical in arguments. Are we trying to be more logical to suit the men? Because it looks like being emotional is suddenly being seen as something wrong or something bad. So be more logical. But if you're having an argument,